The heavy oak doors of the courtroom swing open, and the room falls into a reverent silence. All rise. Judge Lauren Lake enters with measured steps, her black robe flowing behind her like a cape of justice. Her expression is serious, compassionate, and prepared for the emotional storm about to unfold. She takes her seat at the bench, surveys the room with keen eyes that have witnessed thousands of family secrets laid bare, and nods to the bailiff. The gallery is packed today. Rows of observers lean forward in their seats, sensing that what they are about to witness will be far more than a simple paternity dispute. This case has all the elements of a family drama that has been brewing for decades, a secret that has poisoned relationships, destroyed trust, and left a young woman questioning the very foundation of her identity. The air is thick with anticipation, with pain, with the weight of words that have been left unspoken for far too long. The plaintiff sits at the table on the left side of the courtroom. Her name is Maya Richardson, and she is 23 years old. Her hands are clasped tightly in her lap, knuckles white with tension. She wears a modest dress, her hair pulled back neatly, but her eyes tell a different story. They are red, rimmed, exhausted, filled with a desperate hope that today will finally bring her the answers she has been searching for her entire life. Next to her sits her mother, Diane Richardson, a woman in her mid-40s with a lined face that speaks of years of stress and secrets kept. Diane does not look at her daughter. She stares straight ahead, her jaw set, her shoulders rigid. There is a defensiveness in her posture, a preparation for battle. Across the aisle sits the defendant, Marcus Williams, a man in his late 40s with graying temples and kind eyes that seem genuinely confused about why he has been brought here today. He has been a fixture in the Richardson family for as long as Maya can remember. Uncle Marcus, they called him. The man who showed up for birthdays, who taught her to ride a bike, who was there at graduations and family dinners. But Maya has come to believe that Marcus is not just a family friend. She believes he is her father, and that everyone has been lying to her for 23 years. Judge Lake opens the file before her and begins to speak. Her voice is clear, authoritative, and tinged with the empathy that has made her a trusted figure in these deeply personal disputes. We are here today in the matter of Richardson versus Williams. Ms. Richardson, you have petitioned this court to establish paternity. You believe that Mr. Williams, a longtime family friend, is your biological father. Is that correct? Maya rises slowly, her voice trembling but determined. Yes, Your Honor, I believe Marcus Williams is my father. I have believed it for years, and my mother has refused to tell me the truth. I need to know. I deserve to know who I am and where I come from. The words hang in the air like an accusation. Diane shifts uncomfortably in her seat, her face flushing. Judge Lake turns her attention to the defendant. Mr. Williams, how do you respond to this claim? Marcus stands, his expression a mixture of sadness and disbelief. Your Honor, I care deeply for Maya. I have known her since she was born, but I am not her father. I was a friend to her mother, yes, but nothing more. This accusation has caused tremendous pain in my life, in my marriage, and in my family. I am here today to clear my name and to prove that I am not her biological father. The battle lines are drawn. The courtroom is silent except for the soft shuffling of papers and the quiet breathing of people who know they are about to witness something raw and real. Judge Lake leans forward, her gaze moving between the three people whose lives are entangled in this mess of doubt and secrecy. This court understands that paternity cases are never simple. They are about identity, about belonging, about the fundamental human need to know where we come from. Ms. Richardson, you have grown up with questions. You have grown up feeling like something was missing, and now you are standing here in front of your mother and the man you believe to be your father, asking for the truth. This is a courageous act, but it is also a painful one. Before we proceed, I need to hear your story. Tell me why you believe Mr. Williams is your father. Maya takes a deep breath, her eyes welling with tears. This is the moment she has been preparing for, the moment when she will finally say out loud what she has carried in her heart for so long. She glances at her mother, who refuses to meet her gaze, and then she begins to speak. Your Honor, I have never felt like I belonged. My whole life people would look at me and then look at the man my mother said was my father, and I could see the confusion in their eyes. He was a dark-skinned black man, and I have lighter skin, different features. He left when I was 3 years old, and my mother never spoke about him. She said he was a deadbeat, that he wanted nothing to do with us, that he was abusive and dangerous. But as I got older, I started to notice things. Marcus was always around. He was at every birthday party, every holiday. He would bring me gifts, spend time with me, act like he cared in a way that seemed deeper than just friendship. My aunts and uncles would make comments, little jokes that didn't seem like jokes. They would say things like, "Marcus sure does dote on Maya," or "Isn't it funny how much time he spends with her?" I started to put pieces together, and then, when I was 16, I overheard my mother and my grandmother arguing. My grandmother said, "You need to tell that girl the truth before she finds out some other way." And my mother screamed at her to shut up, that it was none of her business. That moment changed everything for me. I knew there was a secret, and I knew it involved Marcus. The courtroom is riveted. Every person in the gallery is leaning forward, absorbed in Maya's story. Judge Lake nods, encouraging her to continue. Maya wipes her eyes and goes on, her voice stronger now, fueled by years of pent-up frustration. "I confronted my mother that night. I asked her point blank if Marcus was my father. She denied it. She called me crazy. She said I was imagining things and that I was disrespecting the memory of my father, but I didn't believe her. I started asking other family members, and they all shut down. They all gave me the same story, like they had rehearsed it. It felt like a conspiracy, like everyone knew something I didn't. When I turned 18, I reached out to Marcus directly. I asked him if there was any possibility that he was my father. He seemed shocked, almost hurt. He told me that he loved me like a daughter, but that he was not my biological father. He said he had been faithful to his wife and that my mother had never been more than a friend, but I still didn't believe it. There were too many signs, too many coincidences. So I saved up money and I took a DNA test through one of those online companies, hoping that maybe Marcus or someone in his family had taken one too and we would be a match, but nothing came up. Still, I couldn't let it go. I need to hear the truth from him, from my mother, and I need the court to order a DNA test so that I can finally know once and for all who my father is. Judge Lake listens intently, her face a mask of professional composure, but there is compassion in her eyes. She has heard thousands of stories like this, stories of children who grew up with holes in their hearts, who spent their entire lives searching for a piece of themselves that had been hidden away by adults who thought they were protecting them. But secrets, Judge Lake knows, are never protective. They are corrosive. They eat away at trust, at love, at the very fabric of family. She turns her attention to Diane Richardson, who sits with her arms crossed, her face set in a stubborn expression that suggests she has no intention of making this easy. Ms. Richardson, your daughter has come to this court with serious questions about her paternity. She believes that you have been lying to her for her entire life. What do you have to say in response to these allegations? Diane stands slowly, her movements stiff and defensive. When she speaks, her voice is sharp, laced with anger and resentment. Your Honor, my daughter has been obsessed with this idea for years. She has convinced herself that Marcus is her father because she doesn't want to accept the truth about her real father. Her father was a man named Derek Taylor. He was my boyfriend when I got pregnant with Maya. We were together for 3 years, and yes, he left us. He was not a good man. He was controlling, he was jealous, and he made my life hell. When I finally got the courage to leave him, he wanted nothing to do with Maya. He signed away his rights, and I have not heard from him in 20 years. That is the truth, and I am tired of my daughter dragging me through the mud because she doesn't like that truth. Judge Lake raises an eyebrow, her tone sharp and probing. Ms. Richardson, if that is the truth, then why are there so many members of your family who seem to believe otherwise? Why did your own mother suggest that you were keeping a secret? Why has your daughter spent years feeling like something doesn't add up? Diane's face flushes a deeper red, and she shifts her weight from one foot to the other. My family likes to gossip, Your Honor. They like to stir up drama where there is none. My mother has never liked the choices I made in my life, and she has always had something to say about it. As for Marcus, yes, he has been a good friend to me and to Maya, but that is all he has ever been. People see a man being kind to a child, and they automatically assume there is something inappropriate going on. It is disgusting, and it is unfair to Marcus and to me. Judge Lake is not convinced. She has seen too many mothers sit in that chair and deny the truth, even when the evidence is staring them in the face. She has learned to read the subtle signs of deception, the way a person's eyes dart away, the way their voice becomes defensive and brittle. Diane Richardson is hiding something. The question is what? The judge turns her attention to Marcus Williams, who has been sitting quietly, his face a mask of patient sadness. Mr. Williams, you have stated that you are not Maya's father, and that you have never had a romantic or sexual relationship with MS. Richardson. Is that correct? Marcus stands, his voice steady and sincere. Yes, Your Honor, that is absolutely correct. I met Diane when we were both in our early 20s. We were part of the same social circle, and we became friends. When she got pregnant with Maya, she was with Derek. I was dating my now wife, Angela, at the time. Diane and I were never more than friends. I have been there for Maya because I care about her. I watched her grow up, and I wanted to be a positive influence in her life, especially after Derek left. But I am not her father. This accusation has caused incredible strain in my marriage. My wife has questioned my faithfulness, my integrity. My own children have heard the rumors and have asked me if I had an affair with Diane. It is humiliating and it is painful, and I am here today to put an end to it once and for all. Judge Lake nods slowly, absorbing Marcus's words. There is something genuine about his pain, something that suggests he truly believes he is telling the truth. But there is also a nagging sense that there is more to this story than anyone is willing to admit. She decides to press further. Mr. Williams, you say you and MS. Richardson were friends. How close were you? Did you spend time alone together? Were there ever moments where your friendship could have crossed a line? Marcus hesitates, and that hesitation is like a crack in a dam. The courtroom holds its breath. Your Honor, Diane and I were close friends. We talked on the phone, we confided in each other. There were times when we spent time alone together, yes, but it was never romantic, never physical. I was faithful to my wife then, and I have been faithful to her for the past 25 years of marriage. I have nothing to hide. But Judge Lake sees something in his eyes, a flicker of doubt, a shadow of memory that he has perhaps pushed down so deep that even he is no longer certain what happened all those years ago. The judge turns back to Maya, whose face is a mixture of hope and despair. MS. Richardson, you have heard your mother and Mr. Williams both deny that he is your father. You have heard them explain their side of the story, but you are still not convinced. Why? Maya stands, and this time there is a fire in her eyes. Because I know what I see, Your Honor. I know what I feel. When I look at Marcus, I see myself. I see my nose, my eyes, the shape of my face. When I look at pictures of the man my mother says is my father, I see a stranger, and it is not just about physical resemblance. It is about the way Marcus has always treated me, like I was special, like I mattered in a way that went beyond friendship. My mother has lied to me about so many things in my life. She lied about why my father left. She lied about our family history. She has kept secrets from me my entire life. Why should I believe her now? I need proof. I need a DNA test, and if Marcus is not my father, then I will accept that and I will move on. But I cannot move on without knowing the truth. The tension in the courtroom is palpable now. Judge Lake can feel the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone in the room. This is not just about DNA. This is about trust, about the fractures that secrets create in families, about a young woman's desperate need to understand her own identity. The judge takes a deep breath and decides to dig deeper into the history between Diane and Marcus, because somewhere in that history is the key to understanding what really happened. MS. Richardson, I want to take you back to the time when you were pregnant with Maya. You say you were in a relationship with Derek Taylor, but you also say that Marcus Williams was a close friend. How did Derek feel about your friendship with Marcus? Diane's face tightens, and for the first time, there is a flash of something that looks like fear in her eyes. She glances at Marcus, then quickly looks away. Derek was jealous of everyone, Your Honor. He was a possessive man. He didn't like me having male friends. He accused me of cheating on him constantly, even when I had done nothing wrong. Yes, he was jealous of Marcus. He would get angry whenever Marcus called or came by. But that doesn't mean anything happened between Marcus and me. Judge Lake leans back in her chair, her fingers steepled in front of her face. M.S. Richardson, jealousy does not come from nowhere. Often it is rooted in insecurity, but sometimes it is rooted in intuition. Did Derek have any reason to believe that you and Marcus were more than friends? The question hangs in the air like a sword about to drop. Diane's mouth opens and closes, and for a moment it seems like she might finally tell the truth. But then her defenses slam back into place, and she shakes her head vehemently. No, Your Honor, he had no reason. He was paranoid and controlling. That is who he was. Judge Lake does not believe her, and neither does anyone else in the courtroom. The judge turns to Marcus. Mr. Williams, did you ever sense that Derek Taylor suspected something was going on between you and M.S.? Richardson. Marcus shifts uncomfortably. Yes, Your Honor. Derek confronted me once. He accused me of trying to steal his girlfriend. He got in my face and threatened me. I told him that Diane and I were just friends and that he had nothing to worry about, but he didn't believe me. After that, I tried to keep my distance for a while. But Diane would call me upset, saying that Derek was being abusive and that she needed someone to talk to. I felt like I had to be there for her, even if it meant dealing with Derek's anger. Judge Lake's eyes narrow. So you were aware that your presence in a mess. Richardson's life was causing problems in her relationship, but you continued to be involved. Marcus nods slowly, and there is guilt in his expression. Yes, Your Honor, I see now that maybe I should have backed off completely, but at the time I felt like Diane needed a friend. She was isolated. Derek had driven away most of her other friends. I didn't want to abandon her. The judge absorbs this information, and a picture begins to form in her mind. A young woman in a toxic relationship, feeling trapped and alone. A male friend who offers comfort and support. A jealous boyfriend who sees a threat where perhaps one exists or perhaps does not. And now, 23 years later, a daughter who is desperate to know whether that friendship ever became something more. Judge Lake turns her attention back to Maya. M.S. Richardson, have you ever met Derek Taylor? Have you ever tried to reach out to him to see if he would take a DNA test? Maya's expression hardens. I tried, Your Honor. When I was 18, I hired a private investigator to find him. We located him living in another state. I sent him a letter explaining who I was and asking if he would be willing to take a paternity test. He never responded. I tried calling the number we had for him, but it was disconnected. It was like he wanted nothing to do with me, just like my mother said, but that only made me more suspicious. If he really is my father, why wouldn't he at least respond? Why wouldn't he want to know his daughter? Judge Lake nods thoughtfully. That is a fair question, and it is also possible that Derek Taylor's refusal to engage is because he, too, has doubts about whether he is your biological father. M.S. Richardson, did Derek ever question whether Maya was his child? Diane's face goes pale, and for the first time, she looks genuinely shaken. The courtroom is silent, waiting for her answer. She swallows hard and speaks in a voice that is barely above a whisper. He asked me once, Your Honor. When Maya was born, he looked at her and he said she didn't look like him. He asked me if I had been with anyone else. I told him no. I told him she was his daughter and that he needed to step up and be a father, but he didn't believe me. He started pulling away. After that, he stopped coming around as much, and then one day he just left. He said he couldn't do it anymore, that he didn't think Maya was his, and that he wasn't going to raise another man's child. The words land like a bomb in the middle of the courtroom. Maya gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Judge Lake's expression is stern, her voice sharp with disapproval. So Derek Taylor left because he did not believe Maya was his child. And yet you have spent the last 23 years telling your daughter that he was her father and that he simply abandoned her. M.S. Richardson, do you understand how damaging that is? Diane's eyes fill with tears, and for the first time the defensive walls begin to crumble. I was trying to protect her, Your Honor. I didn't want her to grow up thinking that her mother was some kind of loose woman who didn't know who her father was. I didn't want her to be ashamed of me. Judge Lake's voice is firm but not unkind. Ms. Richardson, I understand that you were in a difficult situation, but lying to your child is not protection. It is betrayal. Your daughter has spent her entire life feeling like she doesn't belong, like something is missing, because you refuse to tell her the truth. And now we are here, in this courtroom, because the weight of your secrets has become too much for her to bear. Diane breaks down, sobbing into her hands. Marcus looks stricken, his face pale, and Maya stands there, tears streaming down her face, finally hearing the truth she has been searching for. But the truth raises more questions than it answers. If Derek Taylor did not believe Maya was his child, then who is her father? Is it Marcus, as Maya has believed all along? Or is there someone else, some other secret that Diane has been hiding? Judge Lake allows a moment for the emotions in the room to settle, but she knows they cannot stop now. They are too close to the truth, and this young woman deserves answers. The judge's voice is calm but insistent as she continues. Ms. Richardson, your daughter believes that Marcus Williams is her father. Derek Taylor did not believe he was her father, so I am going to ask you directly, and I need you to understand that this court is not here to judge you for your past. We are here to find the truth for your daughter's sake. Did you have a sexual relationship with Marcus Williams around the time you conceived Maya? The courtroom holds its collective breath. Diane looks up, her face streaked with tears, her eyes red and swollen. She looks at her daughter, then at Marcus, and finally back at the judge. When she speaks, her voice is raw and broken. Your Honor, I don't know. I honestly don't know. The confession is like a thunderclap. Maya staggers, gripping the edge of the table for support. Marcus's face drains of color, and he sinks back into his chair as if the weight of those words has physically pushed him down. Judge Lake leans forward, her expression intense. Ms. Richardson, what do you mean you don't know? Either you had a sexual relationship with Mr. Williams or you did not. Diane takes a shuddering breath and begins to speak, her words tumbling out in a torrent of pain and shame. There was one night, Your Honor, it was about a month before I found out I was pregnant. Derek and I had a huge fight. He hit me. It was not the first time, but it was the worst. I grabbed my things and I left. I didn't have anywhere to go, so I called Marcus. He came and picked me up. He took me back to his apartment. His girlfriend, Angela, was out of town visiting her family. Marcus let me stay on his couch. We talked for hours. He was so kind, so understanding. I was a mess. I was crying. I was angry. I was hurt. And Marcus just listened. He didn't judge me. He didn't tell me I was stupid for being with Derek. He just held me and told me everything was going to be okay. She pauses, her hands trembling. We had been drinking, not a lot, but enough, and at some point the comfort turned into something else. I don't remember who initiated it. I don't remember making a conscious decision, but we ended up in his bed, and the next morning we both woke up and realized what we had done. We were horrified. Marcus was devastated. He loved Angela. I was still technically with Derek. We agreed that it was a mistake, that it could never happen again, and that we would never speak of it. We decided to just go back to being friends and pretend like that night never happened. The courtroom is utterly silent. This is the moment of truth, the revelation that changes everything. Judge Lake's voice is measured and careful, and then you found out you were pregnant. Diane nods, her face crumpling. Yes, a few weeks later I found out I was pregnant. I had gotten back together with Derek. We had reconciled after that fight. I was sleeping with him again. So when I found out I was pregnant, I assumed the baby was his. I wanted the baby to be his. I prayed the baby was his, because if it wasn't, then it meant that one drunken mistake with Marcus was going to ruin everything. It was going to ruin his relationship with Angela. It was going to ruin my relationship with Derek. It was going to tear apart our entire social circle. So I convinced myself that the baby was Derek's. I told myself that the timing worked out, that it had to be him. And when Maya was born and Derek started questioning whether she was his, I doubled down. I insisted she was his because I was terrified of the alternative. Judge Lake's expression is a mixture of sympathy and frustration. Ms. Richardson, did you ever tell Marcus that there was a possibility Maya could be his child? Diane shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. No, Your Honor, I never told him. After that night, Marcus and I never spoke about it again. We went back to being friends, and he eventually married Angela. I didn't want to destroy his life. I didn't want to destroy my life, so I buried it. I buried it so deep that I almost convinced myself it never happened. Judge Lake turns to Marcus, whose face is ashen. Mr. Williams, did you remember this night, or have you genuinely forgotten? Marcus's voice is thick with emotion. Your Honor, I have spent the last 23 years trying to forget that night. When Diane got back together with Derek and then told me she was pregnant, I assumed the baby was his. I convinced myself that our mistake didn't have any consequences. I have been faithful to my wife ever since. I have been a good husband, a good father to my own children, and I have tried to be a good friend to Maya because I cared about her, not because I thought I was her father. But now, hearing this, I feel like my entire world is falling apart. Maya is openly sobbing now, her body shaking with the force of her emotions. So you both knew that there was a possibility, and you never told me. You let me grow up thinking I was crazy. You let me grow up feeling like I didn't belong. You let me spend years searching for answers that you could have given me at any time. Judge Lake's voice is firm but compassionate as she addresses Maya. Ms. Richardson, I know this is incredibly painful, but I want you to understand something. Your mother and Mr. Williams made a mistake. They made a choice to keep a secret that they thought would protect everyone involved. But secrets have a way of coming out, and when they do, they cause far more damage than the truth ever would have. What you are feeling right now is valid. You have every right to be angry, to be hurt, to feel betrayed. But you are also on the verge of getting the answers you have been searching for. And those answers are going to change your life, one way or another. The judge pauses, letting her words sink in, and then she continues. This court is going to order a DNA test. We are going to find out, once and for all, whether Marcus Williams is your biological father. And then we are going to have to deal with the consequences of that truth, whatever it may be. The atmosphere in the courtroom shifts as the gravity of the moment settles over everyone present. Judge Lake has ordered the DNA test, and now they are in the waiting period, the liminal space between doubt and certainty. But the judge is not finished. She knows that paternity is only one piece of this story. There are deeper issues at play here, issues of trust and honesty, and the responsibility that comes with bringing a child into the world. She turns her attention back to Diane, whose face is streaked with tears, but who has stopped crying. There is a resignation in her expression now, an acceptance that the truth is finally going to come out. Ms. Richardson, I want to talk about the impact your decisions have had on your daughter. Maya has spent her entire life feeling like she doesn't belong. She has questioned her identity, her worth, her place in the world, and all of that pain could have been avoided if you had been honest with her from the beginning. What do you have to say to your daughter now? Diane turns to face Maya, and for the first time in this entire proceeding, there is genuine remorse in her eyes. Maya, I am so sorry. I know that doesn't change anything. I know that doesn't take away the pain I have caused you, but I need you to understand that I was scared. I was young and I was scared, and I made a terrible decision. I thought I was protecting you, but I see now that I was only protecting myself. You deserve to know the truth. You have always deserved to know the truth, and I am sorry that it took this court, this public humiliation, for me to finally admit it. Maya looks at her mother, and the pain in her eyes is almost unbearable to witness. You stole my childhood from me, Mom. You stole my sense of self. Every time I looked in the mirror and didn't see my father, every time I felt like I didn't fit in, every time I questioned whether I was loved or wanted, that was because of your lie. I needed to know where I came from. I needed to know who I was, and you took that from me. Judge Lake allows the moment to hang in the air. the weight of Maya's words a testament to the damage that secrets can do. Then she turns to Marcus. Mr. Williams, regardless of what the DNA test reveals, you have played a significant role in Maya's life. You were there for her in ways that her legal father was not. You showed up, you cared, but you also participated in a lie, whether you fully realized it or not. If the DNA test comes back and shows that you are her father, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your marriage, for your other children, for your relationship with Maya? Marcus takes a deep breath, and when he speaks, his voice is heavy with the weight of responsibility. Your Honor, if Maya is my daughter, then I have to own that. I have to face the consequences of my actions. I will not run from this. I will not abandon her the way Derek did. But I also have to think about my wife, about my children. Angela is a good woman. She has stood by me through everything. If she finds out that I have a daughter from an affair, it is going to devastate her. My children are going to question everything they thought they knew about their father. This is going to destroy my family. But if Maya is my daughter, then she deserves to be acknowledged. She deserves to have a father who is present, who supports her, who loves her openly. I will do whatever I have to do to make that right. Judge Lake nods slowly, her respect for Marcus growing. Mr. Williams, that is the answer of a man who understands what it means to be a father. Fatherhood is not just about biology. It is about responsibility. It is about showing up. And if the test comes back and shows that you are not Maya's biological father, I hope you will consider maintaining a relationship with her anyway, because it is clear that she sees you as a father figure. She turns back to the courtroom at large, her voice taking on the tone of a moral lesson. This case is about more than just DNA. It is about the choices we make and the ripple effects those choices have on the people we love. When we lie, when we keep secrets, when we prioritize our own comfort over the truth, we create wounds that last for generations. Children grow up with questions they cannot answer, with pain they cannot name, with a sense that something is fundamentally wrong with them. And it is our responsibility as parents to give them the truth, even when that truth is difficult, even when it reflects poorly on us. The courtroom is silent, the audience hanging on every word. Judge Lake continues, Maya, you are a strong young woman. You have fought for the truth, and you have refused to accept the lies that were told to you. That takes courage, but I also want you to understand that whatever the DNA test reveals, it does not define your worth. You are not defined by who your father is or is not. You are defined by your character, by your resilience, by your refusal to give up. And that is something to be proud of. Maya wipes her eyes and nods, a small flicker of hope appearing on her face for the first time since this hearing began. Judge Lake takes a deep breath and announces, we are going to take a short recess while the DNA results are prepared. When we return, we will have the answers that everyone in this courtroom has been waiting for. I ask that everyone take this time to prepare themselves emotionally for what is to come, because the truth has the power to heal, but it can also be painful in ways we do not expect. The bailiff calls for a recess, and the courtroom slowly empties. Diane sits at her table, her head in her hands. Marcus stands and walks to the back of the courtroom, where his wife Angela has been sitting quietly throughout the entire proceeding. She does not say a word, but the look on her face says everything. There is hurt there and betrayal, but also a steely resolve. Maya sits alone at her table, staring at the empty judge's bench, waiting for the moment that will change her life forever. The minutes tick by slowly, each one feeling like an eternity. The gallery fills back up, people taking their seats, whispering among themselves about what they think the results will show. There is a nervous energy in the air, the kind of anticipation that comes before a verdict, before a truth that cannot be taken back. Finally, the bailiff announces the judge's return. Everyone rises, and Judge Lake enters the courtroom once more. She carries a sealed envelope in her hand, the envelope that contains the DNA test results. She takes her seat and surveys the room. Please be seated. We are about to reveal the results of the DNA test conducted to determine whether Marcus Williams is the biological father of Maya Richardson. Before I open this envelope, I want to remind everyone that regardless of what these results show, there is a human being at the center. of this case who deserves love, respect, and support. DNA does not determine the value of a person. It simply provides answers to questions that have been asked. She pauses, allowing the weight of her words to settle. Are we ready? The room is silent except for the sound of people breathing, the rustle of clothing, the quiet anticipation. Judge Lake opens the envelope and removes the paper inside. She reads it once, twice, her expression carefully neutral. Then she looks up and begins to speak. Judge Lake's eyes move from the paper in her hand to the faces of the three people whose lives hang in the balance. She can see the fear in Maya's eyes, the desperate hope that has carried her through years of doubt and confusion. She can see the tension in Diane's posture, the bracing for impact, the knowledge that whatever the results say, her relationship with her daughter will never be the same. And she can see Marcus sitting with his hands clasped tightly in front of him, his jaw clenched, preparing himself for a truth that could shatter the life he has built. Judge Lake has done this thousands of times, but it never gets easier. There is no way to soften the blow of life, changing news. There is only the truth, delivered with as much compassion and clarity as possible. She takes a deep breath and begins. In the case of Richardson versus Williams, pertaining to the paternity of Maya Richardson, the court has received the results of the DNA test conducted by an accredited laboratory. The test compared the DNA of Marcus Williams with the DNA of Maya Richardson to determine biological paternity. The pause that follows is excruciating. The entire courtroom seems to hold its breath as one. The results show. Judge Lake pauses again, and in that pause, the entire weight of 23 years of secrets, lies, and unanswered questions seems to hang in the air. That Marcus Williams is the biological father of Maya Richardson. There is a 99.9% probability of paternity. The words land like an earthquake. Maya gasps. Her hand continue 19. 16 flying to her mouth as tears begin to stream down her face. She was right. She was right all along. The instinct she had carried with her since childhood, the feeling that she was connected to Marcus in a way that went beyond friendship, was not crazy. It was true. Diane lets out a sob and covers her face with her hands. All these years of denial, all the lies, all the energy spent maintaining a false narrative, and now the truth is out in the open for everyone to see. Marcus sits frozen, his face pale, his eyes wide with shock. He has just learned that he is a father to a woman he has known her entire life, a woman he cared for as a friend but never claimed as his daughter. The reality is crashing down on him in waves, and he does not know how to process it. Judge Lake allows a moment for the news to sink in, and then she continues, her voice steady and filled with the kind of moral authority that only comes from years of witnessing the consequences of human choices. Mr. Williams, you are Maya's biological father. That means that for 23 years you have been in her life, you have watched her grow up, you have been there for her, but you have not been her father in name or in truth. And now you must decide what kind of father you are going to be. Moving forward, Marcus stands, his voice shaking. Your Honor, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. If I had known, I would have been there. I would have claimed her. I would have supported her. Judge Lake's gaze is unwavering. Mr. Williams, I believe that you did not consciously know, but on some level you had to have suspected. The fact that you stayed in her life, that you continue to show up for her even when it caused problems in your own life, suggests that there was a part of you that knew the truth, even if you could not admit it to yourself. She lets that sink in, and then she turns to Diane. Ms. Richardson, you knew. You knew that there was a possibility that Marcus was Maya's father, and you chose to keep that information from both of them. You robbed your daughter of the chance to know her father. You robbed Marcus of the chance to be a father to his daughter. And you robbed Maya of the chance to grow up with a father who loved her openly and without shame. Diane is openly weeping now, her body shaking with the force of her sobs. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Judge Lake's voice is firm, but not without compassion. Sorrow is not enough, Ms. Richardson. You have to take responsibility for the damage you have caused. You have to acknowledge that your choices, your lies, your refusal to face the truth have caused immeasurable pain to your daughter and to Mr. Williams, and you have to commit to doing better. to being honest, to rebuilding the trust that you have destroyed. The judge turns her attention to Maya, whose face is a mixture of relief, pain, anger, and confusion. Maya, you were right. Your instincts were right, and I am so sorry that you had to fight this hard to get the truth. You should never have had to go through this. You should have been told the truth from the beginning, but now you have the answers you have been searching for. Marcus Williams is your father, and now you have to decide what kind of relationship you want to have with him moving forward. Maya looks at Marcus, and for a long moment they simply stare at each other. He is her father. The man who taught her to ride a bike, who showed up at her school plays, who bought her birthday presents and made her laugh. He is her father, and he never knew. Or maybe he did know on some level, and he just could not admit it. Either way, the truth is out now, and they have to figure out what comes next. Judge Lake is not finished. She has one more piece of wisdom to impart, one more moral lesson that she hopes will resonate not just with the people in this courtroom, but with everyone watching. I want to talk about the importance of truth in families. When we keep secrets, when we lie to the people we love, we think we are protecting them. We think we are sparing them pain, but what we are really doing is creating a foundation of mistrust that will eventually crumble. Children are not stupid. They sense when something is wrong. They feel the gaps, the inconsistencies, the places where the story does not quite add up. And they internalize those feelings. They start to believe that there is something wrong with them, that they are not worthy of the truth, that they do not deserve to know who they are and where they come from. She pauses, letting her words sink in. Maya has spent her entire life feeling like she did not belong, like she was missing a piece of herself, and that pain, that sense of not being whole, that is a direct result of the lies that were told to her. MS. Richardson, you thought you were protecting your daughter, but what you were really doing was protecting yourself from having to face the consequences of your choices, and in doing so, you caused your daughter a lifetime of pain. The courtroom is utterly silent as Judge Lake's words echo through the space. This is the moment where the moral weight of the case becomes clear, where the consequences of secrets and lies are laid bare for everyone to see. The judge is not just delivering a verdict on paternity. She is delivering a verdict on the choices that were made, the responsibility that was shirked, and the damage that was done to a young woman who deserved better. Judge Lake turns back to Marcus, who is still standing, his face a mask of shock and grief. Mr. Williams, you now have a choice to make. You can choose to be a father to Maya, to acknowledge her publicly, to build a relationship with her based on honesty and love. Or you can choose to walk away, to let the fear of what this will do to your marriage and your other children dictate your actions. But I want you to understand something. If you walk away, you will be doing to Maya exactly what Derek Taylor did. You will be abandoning her because the truth is inconvenient, and that is not the kind of man I believe you to be. Marcus's eyes fill with tears, and his voice breaks as he speaks. Your Honor, I am not going to walk away. Maya is my daughter. I see that now. I have always cared about her, but now I understand why I felt such a strong connection to her. She is my blood. She is my child, and I am going to be there for her. I don't know how I am going to explain this to my wife or my children, but I will figure it out, because Maya deserves to have a father who claims her, who loves her, who is proud of her, and I want to be that father. The emotion in the room is overwhelming. People in the gallery are wiping their eyes, moved by the raw honesty of Marcus's words. Maya is crying openly now, but there is a small smile on her face, a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, something good can come out of all this pain. Judge Lake nods approvingly. Mr. Williams, that is the right answer. That is the answer of a man who understands what it means to take responsibility, and I commend you for that. But I also want to caution you. Being a father is not just about showing up. It is about being consistent, being present, being honest. Maya has been through a lot. She has been lied to, she has been betrayed, and she has spent years questioning her own worth. She needs a father who is going to be there for her, not just in the good times, but in the hard times as well. Can you commit to that? Marcus nods vigorously. Yes, Your Honor, I can commit to that. I will do whatever it takes. Judge Lake turns to Maya. And you, Maya, you now have the answers you have been searching for. You know who your father is, but I want you to understand that this is just the beginning. Building a relationship with Marcus is going to take time. It is going to require forgiveness, patience, and a willingness to move forward despite the pain of the past. Are you ready for that? Maya takes a deep breath and nods. Yes, Your Honor, I am ready. I have been ready my whole life. Judge Lake's expression softens, and there is genuine warmth in her eyes as she looks at the young woman before her. Maya, I want you to know that I am so proud of you. You have shown incredible courage and resilience. You have fought for the truth, and you have refused to accept the lies that were told to you. That takes strength, and I believe that you and Marcus have the potential to build a strong, loving relationship. It will not be easy, but it will be worth it. The judge then turns her attention to Diane, who has been sitting quietly, her face buried in her hands. Ms. Richardson, I want to talk to you about rebuilding trust with your daughter. You have broken her trust in a fundamental way. You have lied to her for her entire life. And now, if you want to have any kind of relationship with her moving forward, you are going to have to earn that trust back. That means being honest even when the truth is painful. It means apologizing not just with words, but with actions. It means respecting Maya's boundaries and giving her the space she needs to process all of this. Can you do that? Diane looks up, her face red and swollen from crying. Yes, Your Honor, I will do whatever it takes. I love my daughter. I know I have hurt her, but I love her, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make this right. Judge Lake's voice is firm. Ms. Richardson, love is not enough. Love without honesty is not real love. It is manipulation. It is control. If you truly love your daughter, you will tell her the truth always, even when it is hard. You will respect her autonomy and her right to make her own decisions about her life and her relationships, and you will not stand in the way of her building a relationship with her father. Diane nods, her voice barely a whisper. I understand, Your Honor. Judge Lake takes a deep breath and looks around the courtroom one last time. This case is a reminder that the choices we make have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the people we love. When we lie, when we keep secrets, when we prioritize our own comfort over the truth, we create wounds that last for generations. But it is never too late to start telling the truth. It is never too late to take responsibility. And it is never too late to choose love over fear. She pauses, letting her words resonate. Mr. Williams, Maya, and Ms. Richardson, I hope that all of you will take this opportunity to build something new, something better, something based on honesty and love. It will not be easy. There will be difficult conversations. There will be tears and anger and pain. But on the other side of that pain is the possibility of healing, of wholeness, of a family that is built on truth rather than lies. The judge picks up her gavel, but before she brings it down, she has one more thing to say. Judge Lake holds the gavel in her hand, but she does not strike it yet. There is more that needs to be said, more wisdom to be imparted, because she knows that this case is about more than just the three people standing before her. It is about every family that has been torn apart by secrets, every child who has grown up feeling like they do not belong, every parent who has made the mistake of thinking that lies can protect the people they love. She sets the gavel down and leans forward, her voice taking on a more intimate tone, as if she is speaking directly to each person in the courtroom, as if she is speaking to everyone who will ever watch this case unfold. I want to take a moment to talk about the importance of identity. For Maya, this case has been about more than just finding out who her father is. It has been about understanding who she is. We live in a world that is obsessed with DNA, with bloodlines, with biological connections. And while those things matter, they do not tell the whole story. Maya, you are not defined solely by the fact that Marcus Williams is your biological father. You are defined by your strength, your resilience, your refusal to accept lies as truth. You are defined by the choices you make, the person you choose to be, the legacy you choose to create. But you also deserve to know where you come from. You deserve to have access to your full story, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the painful, and that is what this court has given you today. Maya nods, her tears slowing, a sense of calm beginning to settle over her. Judge Lake continues. Mr. Williams, You have been given a gift today. Yes, it is a complicated gift, one that comes with challenges and difficulties. But you have been given the gift of knowing that you have a daughter who has been in your life all along, a daughter who has looked up to you and loved you. And now you have the opportunity to be her father in every sense of the word. Do not waste that opportunity. Do not let fear or shame or the opinions of others keep you from embracing this relationship. Maya needs you. She has always needed you, and now you have the chance to be there for her in a way that you never could before. Marcus wipes his eyes and nods, his voice thick with emotion. I won't waste it, Your Honor. I promise. Judge Lake then shifts her gaze to Diane. M.S. Richardson, I know that you are in pain right now. I know that you are facing the consequences of choices you made over 2 decades ago. But I want you to understand that this is an opportunity for you as well. This is your chance to finally be honest with your daughter, to finally give her the relationship she deserves. You have spent so much energy maintaining a lie. Imagine what you could do if you channeled that energy into building something real, something true. Your relationship with Maya does not have to end here, but it does have to change. It has to be built on a foundation of honesty and respect, or it will not survive. Diane looks at her daughter, and there is a plea in her eyes. Maya, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I have hurt you in ways that I can never fully make up for. But I am asking you to give me a chance. I am asking you to let me try to be the mother you deserve, a mother who tells you the truth, a mother who supports you, a mother who respects your decisions. I know it will take time. I know you need space, but I am here, and I am not going anywhere. Maya looks at her mother for a long moment, and then she speaks, her voice steady and strong. I don't know if I can forgive you right now, Mom. I don't know if I can trust you. You have lied to me for my entire life. You have stolen something from me that I can never get back, but I am willing to try. I am willing to see if we can build something new, something better. But it is going to be on my terms. You are going to have to earn my trust back. And if you lie to me again, if you keep secrets from me again, I am done. Do you understand? Diane nods, fresh tears streaming down her face. I understand. I will do better. I promise. Judge Lake watches the exchange with a mixture of sadness and hope. This is the hard work of healing, the painful process of rebuilding trust after it has been shattered. It will not happen overnight. It will take time, effort, and a willingness to be vulnerable, but it is possible. The judge picks up her gavel once more, and this time she is ready to bring the proceedings to a close. But before she does, she has one final message, one that she hopes will resonate beyond the walls of this courtroom. If you are watching this case today and you are keeping a secret from someone you love, I want you to ask yourself why. Ask yourself what you are really protecting. Are you protecting them, or are you protecting yourself? Are you sparing them pain, or are you avoiding the consequences of your own choices? Because I can tell you from years of sitting in this chair that secrets do not protect anyone. They only create distance, mistrust, and pain. The truth is hard. The truth is uncomfortable. But the truth is also the foundation of any real, lasting relationship. So tell the truth. Even when it is scary, even when it is painful, even when you are afraid of what people will think, because the people you love deserve the truth. They deserve to know who they are and where they come from. And they deserve the chance to make their own decisions about their lives based on accurate information. She pauses, letting the weight of her words settle over the room. This court is adjourned. Judge Lake brings the gavel down with a decisive strike, and the sound echoes through the courtroom like a final punctuation mark on a story that has been decades in the making. The gavel strike fades into silence, but no one moves. The courtroom remains still, as if everyone is holding on to the moment, processing the weight of what has just transpired. Maya sits at her table, staring at her hands, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts and emotions. She has spent her entire life searching for this truth, and now that she has it, she does not know what to do with it. She looks over at Marcus, who is standing at his table, his eyes locked on her. There is so much they need to say to each other, so much they need to figure out. But for now, they simply look at each other, and in that look, there is an unspoken understanding. They are father and daughter, and somehow they will navigate this new reality together. Marcus takes a tentative step toward Maya, and she stands to meet him. The courtroom watches, transfixed, as the two of them come together in the center of the room. Marcus opens his arms, and after a moment of hesitation, Maya steps into his embrace. They hold each other tightly, and the tears that flow are tears of grief for the years lost, but also tears of hope for the future that is now possible. It is a moment of profound healing, witnessed by everyone in the room. Diane watches from her seat, and the pain on her face is almost unbearable. She has lost something today. She has lost the illusion of control, the false sense of security that came from keeping her secrets. But perhaps in losing that, she has gained the opportunity to build something real with her daughter. It will not be easy. It will require humility, honesty, and a willingness to face the consequences of her actions. But it is possible. Judge Lake watches the embrace between Marcus and Maya, and there is a softness in her expression, a sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing that justice has been served, not just in terms of legal outcomes, but in terms of human connection and healing. This is why she does this work. This is why she sits in this chair day after day, listening to people's pain, guiding them toward truth, holding them accountable for their choices. Because every once in a while there is a moment like this, a moment where the truth sets people free, where healing begins, where a family starts to come back together. Judge Lake stands and addresses the courtroom one last time. I want to remind everyone here today that what we have witnessed is not just a legal proceeding. It is a human story. It is a story about the consequences of our choices, the importance of truth, and the resilience of the human spirit. Maya has shown us what it means to fight for the truth, to refuse to accept lies, and to demand the respect and dignity that every person deserves. Mr. Williams has shown us what it means to take responsibility, to step up even when it is difficult, and to choose love over fear. And MS Richardson has shown us that it is never too late to start telling truth, even when that truth reflects poorly on us. She pauses, her gaze sweeping across the room. I hope that everyone who has witnessed this case today will take these lessons to heart. If you are keeping a secret, tell the truth. If you have hurt someone, take responsibility. If you have been wronged, find the courage to speak up. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a lie. The truth is what allows us to heal. The truth is what allows us to move forward. The truth is what allows us to build real, lasting relationships based on love and respect. Judge Lake takes a deep breath and then nods to the bailiff. This court is now closed. I wish all parties involved the very best as they navigate the road ahead. And I hope that this case serves as a reminder to everyone that our choices matter, that truth matters, and that family, in all its complicated and messy glory, is worth fighting for. The bailiff calls out, "All rise," and Judge Lake exits the courtroom. The doors close behind her, and the spell is broken. People begin to stand, to gather their things, to whisper among themselves about what they have just witnessed. But Maya and Marcus remain in the center of the room, still holding each other, still processing the enormity of what they have just learned. Finally, Marcus pulls back and looks at his daughter, really looks at her, for the first time with the full knowledge of who she is. "Maya, I am so sorry. I am sorry that I didn't know. I am sorry that I wasn't there for you the way a father should be. But I am here now, and I am not going anywhere. We are going to figure this out together. Okay?" Maya nods, her voice choked with emotion. "Okay, Dad." The word hangs in the air between them, and it is the first time Maya has ever called Marcus that. It is the first time she has ever called anyone that with the full knowledge that it is true. And in that moment, despite all the pain and confusion and heartbreak, there is a sense of rightness, a sense that she has finally found the missing piece of herself that she has been searching for all along. Diane stands and approaches them slowly, hesitantly, unsure of whether she will be welcomed or rejected. Maya sees her coming and stiffens slightly. Marcus feels the tension and looks at Diane with a mixture of sympathy and wariness. Diane stops a few feet away and speaks softly. Maya, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but I want you to know that I am here if you need me. I am not going to interfere with your relationship with Marcus. I am not going to try to control you or manipulate you. I am just going to try to be honest with you, and I am going to hope that someday you can forgive me. Maya looks at her mother, and for the first time in years, she sees her clearly, not as the enemy, not as the person who kept her from the truth, but as a flawed, broken human being who made terrible mistakes, but who is also capable of change. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, Mom, but I am willing to try. It is not a reconciliation, not yet, but it is a beginning. Days have passed since the courtroom confrontation, and the world has shifted for everyone involved. Maya has begun the process of building a relationship with Marcus, and it is awkward and beautiful and complicated all at once. They meet for coffee, for dinners, for long walks where they talk about everything and nothing. Marcus tells her stories about his own childhood, about his parents, about the family history that is now her family history as well. He introduces her to her siblings, and while there is tension and confusion, there is also curiosity and a tentative willingness to welcome her into the fold. Angela, Marcus's wife, has struggled with the revelation. She has been hurt and angry, and there have been difficult conversations that have lasted late into the night. But she is a strong woman, and she understands that this is not about Marcus's infidelity now. It is about a mistake made over 2 decades ago, a mistake that produced a daughter who deserves to know her father. Angela has agreed to meet Maya, and while their first encounter is strained, there is a mutual respect there, a recognition that they are both victims of circumstances that were out of their control. Slowly, painfully, a new family structure begins to take shape. Diane has kept her distance, giving Maya the space she needs to process everything, but she has also kept her promise to be honest. When Maya has questions, Diane answers them, even when the answers are painful. She tells Maya about the night she spent with Marcus, about her relationship with Derek, about the fear and shame that drove her to keep the secret for so long. It is not easy, and there are moments when Maya wants to walk away, to shut her mother out completely. But she also sees the effort Diane is making, and she appreciates it, even if forgiveness is still a long way off. Maya has also begun the process of searching for Derek Taylor, the man who raised her for the first 3 years of her life before walking away. She does not know if she will find him, or if he will want to talk to her if she does. But she feels a need to complete the picture, to understand all the pieces of her story, even the painful ones. She hires a private investigator, and after a few weeks of searching, they locate Derek living in a small town several states away. Maya writes him a letter, explaining who she is, what she has learned, and asking if he would be willing to talk to her. She does not expect a response, but to her surprise, a few weeks later, she receives a phone call. Derek is on the other end of the line, and his voice is hesitant, cautious, but not unkind. They talk for over an hour, and Maya learns that Derek has spent the last 20 years carrying his own guilt and regret. He tells her that he suspected she was not his biological daughter, but that he was young and scared and did not know how to handle the situation. He admits that walking away was the cowardly choice, and that he has thought about her often over the years, wondering how she turned out, hoping that she was okay. He apologizes for abandoning her, and while his apology does not erase the pain of his absence, it gives Maya a sense of closure. She thanks him for his honesty, and they agree to stay in touch, though neither of them knows what that relationship will look like moving forward. The conversation is bittersweet, but it is another piece of the puzzle falling into place. Maya is beginning to understand that family is not a simple, straightforward thing. It is messy and complicated and full of contradictions, but it is also real, and it is hers. She has a father now, a real father who wants to be part of her life. She has half-siblings who are slowly warming up to her. She has a mother who is trying, however imperfectly, to make amends, and she has a sense of her own identity, her own story, that is finally complete. One evening, several months after the court case, Maya sits down to write in a journal that she has started keeping. She writes about the journey she has been on, about the pain and the healing, about the truth that was so hard to find, but that has ultimately set her free. She writes about forgiveness, not because she has fully forgiven everyone who hurt her, but because she is learning what forgiveness means. It is not about excusing bad behavior or pretending that the past did not happen. It is about choosing to move forward, to not let the pain of the past dictate the rest of her life. She writes about identity, about the realization that she is more than just the sum of her DNA. She is a person with her own dreams, her own goals, her own values. And while knowing who her father is has answered important questions, it has not fundamentally changed who she is as a person. She was strong before she knew the truth, and she is strong now. She writes about family, about the complicated, messy, beautiful reality of human connection. She has learned that family is not always about blood. It is about the people who show up, who care, who choose to be there even when it is hard. Marcus is her father by blood, but he is also her father because he has chosen to be. And that choice matters. As Maya closes her journal and looks out the window at the city lights, she feels a sense of peace that she has not felt in years. She does not have all the answers. She does not have a perfect family. But she has the truth, and she has the beginning of a new chapter, one that is built on honesty and authenticity and the courage to face difficult realities. In the end, that is all anyone can ask for. Judge Lake's final words echo in her mind. The truth is what allows us to heal. The truth is what allows us to move forward. The truth is what allows us to build real, lasting relationships based on love and respect. Maya knows that the road ahead will not be easy. There will be more difficult conversations, more moments of pain and confusion, but she also knows that she is strong enough to handle it. She has proven that to herself. She has fought for the truth, and she has found it. And now, armed with that truth, she is ready to build the life she deserves. If you have been watching this story unfold, and you find yourself asking what you would do in Maya's position, or in Marcus's position, or in Diane's position, I hope you will take a moment to reflect on the power of truth in your own life. Ask yourself if there are secrets you are keeping, if there are truths you are avoiding, and then ask yourself what it would take to be brave enough to face them. Because the truth, as painful as it is always better than a lie. And you, like Maya, deserve to know your full story.